the Public Religion Research Institute was interested in whether reports about Jews becoming more conservative and more Republican is true or not. And the study showed that American Jews had generally pretty supportive attitudes to Muslims and to Mormons. On what we call a feeling thermometer, they tended to be on the warm side of it, near majority or in the 40s, whereas when asked about Christian conservatives, the Christian right, the support was down in the 20s. And the striking difference here is that Jews are much more supportive of Mormons and Muslims with whom they would be assumed to have political differences over the Middle East than they are with the Christian right, which has been a strong supporter of Israel on its own terms. American Jews, I think, appreciate those evangelicals who support Israel, but they are, in fact, American Jews, far more moderate on their positions toward the Arab-Israeli conflict. The Jews who continue to understand themselves as a religious minority strongly support political tolerance, even for those with whom they might disagree. The one group that Jews have problems with in terms of their political support are evangelical Protestants. Some people would use the term fundamentalist, but very theologically traditionalist Protestants for the most part. Their concern is with those evangelicals who they see as wanting to bring religion into the public square. That makes Jews very nervous. The one exception to that, I would argue, would be the Orthodox and ultra-Orthodox Jews, who are not unhappy if religion is part of the political discourse. There are elements within the LDS tradition that may in fact bother some Jews. One of them, the Mormons have or used to baptize the victims of the Holocaust retroactively. And for many Jews, that's just an incredibly difficult and painful thing. I happen to be a grandchild of victims and a child of survivors. So when I heard this, I was really outraged. You know, it's not enough that my grandparents were murdered. Now somebody has to, in effect, claim that their Judaism was inauthentic. So that certainly captures a nerve for people who know about it. But I've never heard it as a powerful issue in the Jewish community. There are also elements of theocratic thinking that have been part of the Mormon tradition, and I think those will arise as well. But my sense is that Mitt Romney just doesn't seem threatening to Jews in a way that some evangelicals apparently find him problematic. Every religion has, I think, problematic beliefs to it, but I think in this case, Romney for Jews is not likely to be a problem. Even though there's a campaign yet to come and that will change opinions, I don't expect Jews to shift dramatically in 2012 from the position they had in 2008. In 2008, roughly three-fourths of Jews supported Obama against McCain, and I would expect to be near that in 2012 unless something dramatic happens. There were efforts in 2008, and they're beginning again within the Jewish community, to paint Obama as somehow hostile or indifferent to Israel. Those efforts really didn't work very well, except on that small share of the community that already, I think, sees any Democrat as being hostile to Israel. They also didn't work because the Obama campaign had a very effective outreach to the Jewish community. And that really negated, I think, much of the negativity. And you can see that same thing developing this year. So, again, I think there's a small share of the community who is going to see Obama, as a Muslim who's hostile to Israel, but I think it's small. I think it's the same share of the community that's been voting Republican for decades. And I think at the end of the day, the bulk of Jews will stay where they have been, pretty much on the Democratic side.